Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namaste. The phrase director's cut usually means a version of a film with its shots and scenes rearranged by the director of the film. The director's cut that we are now going to study is a rearrangement of some shlokas of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It was Sri Ramana Maharshi who, on the request of some of his devotees, selected 42 of the 700 shlokas of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and rearranged them, creating a flow that would be extremely easy for anyone to comprehend the most amazing philosophy. The situations, teachings, and characters in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita are highly metaphorical, and if one wished to truly comprehend and internalize the philosophy it teaches, reading the scripture merely once or twice will certainly not suffice. A lot of people aim at solely memorizing the Sanskrit shlokas or teaching their children to chant them by heart. That is nice, but the benefit of studying this divine scripture can be experienced better when a seeker actually understands the supreme philosophy taught in it and begins to apply it in his or her life. Remember, in Shloka 1870 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "I declare that the one who studies this sacred dialogue of ours worships me through the yajna or sacrifice of knowledge, which is the highest form of adoring me." Please note what Krishna said, the one who studies this sacred dialogue of ours, and not the one who learns it by heart and merely regurgitates it. This arrangement made by sage Sri Ramana Maharshi of 42 shlokas from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita that have been grouped in 10 sections by this humble seeker should make it easy for anyone to begin to comprehend the supreme Vedanta philosophy. The Maharshi is known as an experiential Vedantin who experienced awakening and attained self-realization at a rather young age. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world, said Sri Ramana Maharshi. The crash course begins. Section 1. The body, the self, and existence. Shloka 1 of 42. Sanjaya said, to Arjuna, who was overcome with compassion, pity and sadness, and with eyes filled with tears, Madhusudana, or Bhagavan Krishna, said as follows. Shloka 2 of 42. O Arjuna, the wise sages call this body the kshetra, or the field, and he who knows it the kshetrajna, or the knower of the field. Shloka 3 of 42. You should know that the kshetrajna, or the embodied self in all bodies or kshetras, is me, O Arjuna. Knowing about the kshetra and the kshetrajnas is called knowledge. Shloka 4 of 42. I am the self, O Arjuna, situated within all living entities. I am the origin, the middle, and also the end of all beings. Shloka 5 of 42. For one who is born, death is certain, and for one who dies, rebirth is certain. Hence, you should not grieve for this inevitable truth. Shloka 6 of 42. The self is never born, nor does it die at any time. It does not come into existence by being born. The self is constant. It is not killed when the body dies. Shloka 7 of 42. The soul, or the self, is indeed incombustible. It cannot be cut, nor moistened, nor dried. It is eternal, and it has been there forever. Shloka 8 of 42. You must know that that which pervades the body can never be destroyed. the soul is indestructible and imperishable. Shloka 9 of 42. Seers who have studied both the material body and the eternal soul have concluded that the unreal does not endure and the real never ceases to be. Shloka 10 of 42. Like the sun that illuminates the whole world, the self or the soul, which is the lord of the kshetram or the body, illuminates the whole field, Arjuna. Shloka 11:42. Neither does the sun, the moon, nor fire illumine my supreme abode. The one who reaches the highest abode never returns to material life. Section 2. The highest goal is understanding the ultimate truth of the omnipresent divinity. Shloka 12 of 42. What is called the unmanifest and the imperishable is said to be the highest goal. Those who reach it do not return to this cycle of births and deaths. That is my highest abode. Shloka 13 of 42. Those who are free from vanity and delusion are victorious over the evil of attachment, dwell constantly in the self, have their desires completely turned away, and are freed from the pairs of opposites known as pleasure and pain, will certainly reach the eternal goal. Shloka 14 of 42. A person who disregards the teachings of the scriptures and acts under the influence of desire attains neither perfection, happiness, nor the supreme goal. Shloka 15 of 42. The person who truly sees is the one who sees the Supreme Soul or the Supreme Bhagavan existing equally in all beings, the unperishing within the perishing. 16 of 42. By single-minded devotion and dedication, I can be seen and known like this, and in fact, one can even become one with me, O mighty armed Arjuna. Section 3. Faith and the kinds of faith and devotion. Shloka 17 of 42. The faith of everyone is as per their nature, Arjuna. People are what the nature of their faith is. 18 of 42. The person of faith and devotion who has control over the senses attains knowledge. He immediately attains supreme peace. Section 4. The mind, the intelligence, the intellect, and spiritual strength. 19 of 42. To them who are ever steadfast in worshipping me with love, I give the yoga of discrimination by which they come to me. 20 of 42. Out of mere compassion for them, I reside in their intellect and destroy the darkness born of ignorance by the bright lamp of knowledge. 21 of 42. But to those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, their knowledge, like the sun, manifests that highest being. 22 of 42. The senses are superior to the sense objects. The mind is superior to the senses, but the intellect is superior to the mind, and the self or the soul is superior to the intellect. 23 of 42. Therefore, knowing oneself to be higher than the material senses, the mind, and the intelligence, one must conquer the enemy which is in the form of lust and desire. This enemy is difficult to conquer, and only spiritual strength can conquer it. Section 5. The fire of knowledge that burns karma. 24 of 42. Just as a blazing fire burns wood used as fuel into ashes, Arjuna, knowledge burns all actions and reactions due to material activities into ashes. 25 of 42. A person whose every action is devoid of selfish desires and whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge is known to be a wise and highly learned person. Section 6. The Way to Liberation. 26 of 42. Sages who are free from passion and anger, who have their mind under control, who have realized the self and are constantly aiming for perfection are assured of liberation in the Supreme here and hereafter. 27 of 42. One should withdraw little by little, establishing the mind in the self through the intellect regulated by concentration. He should not think of anything else. Section 7. Learning to control one's own mind. 28 of 42. Wherever and whenever the mind wanders restlessly because of its unsteady quality, it should be restrained and brought back under the control of the self. 29 of 42. With the senses, the mind and the intellect always controlled, with liberation as his supreme goal, free from desire, fear and anger, the wise person is truly liberated forever. 30 of 42. A yogi whose self is united with divine consciousness sees the self abiding in all beings and all beings in the self. Such a person sees the same everywhere. Section 8. Exclusive devotion to Krishna, being a sthita prajna, or a person of stable and steady consciousness, and the way to becoming dear to Krishna. 31 of 42. To those people who worship me exclusively, I give my assurance that they get what they want and preserve what they have. 32 of 42. Of those, the one of wisdom who is engaged in devotional service is the best. I am dear to such a knower, and he or she, in turn, is dear to me. 33. Therefore, after innumerable births, the one who has perfected his or her wisdom, understanding fully my universal reality, surrenders to me, and such a soul is very rare. 34 of 42. One who gives up all desires of the mind, O Arjuna, and when one has a purified mind and is in a pure state of the soul, he is called a sthita prajna, or a man of steady consciousness. 35 of 42. The person who has renounced attachment to all sense objects lives with no sense of ownership, and he is free from false pride, thus attaining peace. 36 of 42. The one who neither troubles others nor is agitated by the world, is free from joy, envy, fear and anxiety, is dear to me. 37 of 42. He who remains unmoved in honor and dishonor is the same to friend and foe, and has renounced all actions, giving up claims of being the doer, is said to have transcended the three gunas. 38 of 42. But for the one who delights in the self, remains self-illuminated, fully satisfied with the self, duties don't exist. 39 of 42. Such a person has no purpose whatsoever, and is not interested in whatever is done or not done. He also does not depend on other living beings. Section 9. Being self-content, free of envy, balanced both in success as well as in failure. 40 of 42. A person who is satisfied with gains that come to him on their own is steady, has surpassed duality, and is free from envy. Such a person is even-minded both in success as well as in failure. He is never bound even while performing actions. 41 of 42. The Supreme Bhagavan dwells in the hearts of all beings, Arjuna, and in accordance to their respective karma, he directs the wanderings of all beings by his Maya or elusive power as if they were mounted on a machine. Section 10. Seeking total refuge in divinity. 42 or 42. O Arjuna, seek refuge in him and surrender your body, mind and soul unto him. By his grace you shall attain supreme peace and eternal abode. A quick revision of the salient teachings in the 42 Shlokas. Section 1. The body, the self and existence. In this section, we have learnt the following. The body and the self are not one and the same. The self in every living being is divinity or Krishna himself. Death of all living beings, as well as their rebirth, are certain. The eternal existence of the indestructible self and the impermanence of the perishable physical body. Just as the sun illuminates the whole world, the self, which is Krishna and the master of the body, illuminates the physical body. Section 2. The highest goal is understanding the ultimate truth of the omnipresent divinity. One who reaches the highest unmanifest and imperishable state does not return to the cycle of births and deaths. The way for people to reach the eternal goal includes being free from vanity and delusion, being unattached, dwelling constantly in the self, having their desires completely turned away, and not being affected by pleasure and pain. A person with divine knowledge sees the same Supreme Soul or the Supreme Bhagavan equally existing in all beings. Through single-minded devotion and dedication, one can become one with Krishna. Section 3. Faith, the kinds of faith and devotion. The faith of everyone is as per their nature. People are what the nature of their faith is. Faith, devotion, and control over one's senses are ways to attain knowledge and peace. Those who are steadfast in worshipping Krishna with love and devotion are blessed with divine knowledge, with the help of which they can attain Krishna. Section 4. The mind, the intelligence, the intellect, and spiritual strength. Krishna resides in the intellect of people, and with the light of knowledge, he destroys the darkness born of ignorance. The senses are superior to the sense objects. The mind is superior to the senses, but the intellect is superior to the mind, and the self or the soul is superior to the intellect. Knowing that they are higher than the material senses, the mind and the intelligence, one must use their spiritual strength and conquer the difficult enemy, which is in the form of lust and desire. Section 5. The fire of knowledge that burns karma. Just as fire burns wood, knowledge burns all karma. A wise and highly learned person is one whose every action is devoid of selfish desires and whose actions are burnt by the fire of knowledge. Section 6. The way to liberation. The way to liberation is having a controlled mind, being free from passion and anger, and constantly aiming for perfection. It is necessary to establish the mind in the self through the intellect regulated by concentration. Section 7. Learning to control one's own mind. Whenever the mind wanders due to its restless quality, it must be brought back under the control of the self. Those who have their senses, mind, and intellect always under control are free from desire, fear, and anger, and have liberation as their supreme goal, are liberated forever. A person with divine consciousness sees the self abiding in all beings and all beings in the self. Section 8. Exclusive devotion to Krishna, being a sthita prajna, or a person of stable and steady consciousness, and the way to becoming dear to Krishna. Those who worship with exclusive devotion get what they want and preserve what they have. A person of wisdom who is engaged in devotional service is dear to Krishna. A sthita prajna, or a man of steady consciousness, is one who gives up all desires of the mind, has a purified mind, and is in a pure state of the soul. Such a person who has given up all attachment to sense objects and has no sense of ownership and is free from pride attains peace. The one who neither troubles others nor is agitated by the world and is free from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety is dear to Krishna. One who remains unaffected in honor and dishonor is the same to friend and foe, and has renounced all actions by giving up claims of being the doer, is one who has transcended the three gunas. Section 9. Being self-content, free of envy, and balanced both in success as well as in failure. A person who is satisfied with gains that come to him on their own, is steady, has surpassed duality, and is free from envy, is one who is even-minded both in success as well as in failure. He is never bound even while performing actions. The Supreme Bhagavan dwells in the hearts of all beings, and in accordance to their respective karma, he directs the wanderings of all beings by his maya or elusive power, as if they were mounted on a machine. Section 10. Seeking total refuge in divinity. Attaining divine grace, supreme peace, and the eternal abode by seeking refuge in Krishna and surrendering one's body, mind, and soul unto him. This simply means being one with the whole, with no false ego or the feelings of doership, anger, hate, sadness, or fear. Thank you. May peace reign in your heart, mind, and soul. Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Here are some suggestions to those who have not studied the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. On completing this course, please watch my video titled The Srimad Bhagavad Gita Made Easy, a run-through in English. I also have an audiobook with the same title. Choose any or all of the following. Audiobooks. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita in English, retold and read for you by Tavamitram Sarvada. A Gita experience with Tavamitram Sarvada. The complete Srimad Bhagavad Gita narrated in Sanskrit and retold to you in English by Tavamitram Sarvada. Video course on Udemy. Age. A Gita experience with Tavamitram Sarvada Bliss.